Hello everyone, this is Daikaiju Spacezilla approaching now, and today we're going to take a look at the King Kong franchise from its absolute worst to its absolute best. Whether you're a fan of the Big Ape or not, there's no denying the impact Kong has had over the years, getting referenced in other forms of pop culture and inspiring many things, even influencing the most iconic monster of all time, Godzilla. So as my thank you to this beloved icon, I thought I'd talk about his movies, starting from worst, then going up to best. Number 8. King Kong Lives. This film is just bad. It's not the worst thing ever. Hell, it's not even the worst kaiju movie. That honor goes to young Gary and Zarkor the Invader. But it's still pretty bad. The actors are obviously not taking it seriously, not even Linda Hamilton, which is a shame since she's generally a good actress. The script is a fucking mess because, one, how the hell did Kong survive? I know he didn't completely die, and he was revived, but the explanation for how he was about as convincing as someone giving me a pile of painted rocks and telling me they're jewels. 2, the dialogue is horrendous, with some of the most cringy line delivery out of the entire genre. 3, the romance between the two apes tries to be cute, but it's just forced. 4, the characters are obviously boring. 5, and this is the worst of all, the pacing moves slow and is absolutely boring. The suitmation effects are average, they look slightly rubbery and are a little stiff, but display enough emotion to make them semi-believable, and some of the action scenes are pretty cool, especially when the gore. And Kong's new design is bearable, not nearly as cool as the one in the previous film, but bearable. Overall, it's garbage, but you could do far worse. Number 7. Son of Kong. This one isn't a bad movie, don't get me wrong, but it's this high on the list because it certainly isn't great. Just slightly above average. The effects, though, are a step down from the previous work, they're still pretty good. I also like the concept of continuing the story after the first one left off, and Carl Denham was still likable, but the movie falls apart with its overly quick pacing, affecting character development and not exploring concepts enough. The new characters are just as there and don't really bring much to the table. It tries to be more fun and cutesy, but it's difficult to go aww when Little Kong is goddamn hideous. And some of the writing is off, especially considering they assume Kong had a child with no evidence that Little Kong was even related to Kong. Though, I liked how the natives remembered them and are mad by the fact they know they're the responsible for why Kong killed their people, and it did feel like it took exactly after the first movie. That being said, it's a fun little continuation of King Kong, but it was a rushed production and it really shows. Number 6. The 1976 King Kong remake. Usually when you mention King Kong remake, people think of the 2005 movie by Peter Jackson, but this was the first time the King Kong story was retold without being a reimagining. The suitmation effects look absolutely amazing. The details on the Kong suit and miniatures are all outstanding, with really realistic emotions for Kong as the icing on the cake. Like I said earlier, I really like this design of Kong. He looks like a kaiju ape with a face that says "don't fuck with me," and a cool humanoid look to his body. Though the acting is all around good, though nothing award-winning, but it's good, and it carries some badass action scenes that are fun every time. The music is okay, nothing that stick with you, but it gets the job done. The characters are pretty forgettable, though. I can't really sum up Anne other than, hey, it's a slut. Mind you, I'm not saying that's why she's not a good character, but I'm just saying that's the only way to sum her up. And everyone is just lacking in progression and personality, which is a shame since the original had fantastic characters, but overall, it's a solid remake nonetheless. Number 5. King Kong Escapes. Now this one was fun. The pacing is smooth and it delivers some badass Toho-style kaiju action sequences. Grolosaurus was a cool replacement for the meat eater from the original film, and Mechani Kong was pretty neat. The miniatures look good, and the suits on Gorosaurus and Mechani Kong look great. Kong himself is terrible by both effects and design, his proportions are atrocious, and his head is way too big, and the fur looks like a stuffed animal. His design is absolutely ugly, but that's no surprise due to the fact that King Kong, like the movie itself, is based off the one from the animated series by Rankin and Bass and Toei. Mia Hama was great as Madame, and like Hideo Yamamoto was awesome as Doctor Who. Yes, that's his name. But they tragically underused Akira Takalada, and the other characters aren't really anything special. Some things also don't make much sense, like why did they need a mechanical Kong when their intention wasn't even to make him fight Kong? Oh well, this movie still kicks ass regardless of its flaws.
They told us to leave at dawn.
Number 4.
It's dawn.
I know.
So what are we going to do?
Kong Skull Island. I loved this movie. The Kong design's like a combination of the 2005 version and the 76 one by the fact that he has a more humanoid body like the 76 one, but has a more ape look to him like the 2005 one. The other kaiju are pretty dope too, my favorite being the Skull Crawler since they're unique but also cool as hell. Some of the characters are fun, having some really cool cast. The only one I didn't like was Brie Larson. Mind you, this has nothing to do with the stupid shit she said. Hell, I've been saying this before I even knew who she was, but her performance was lifeless and just feels like she didn't care with a character already lazy written. Personally, I just wish Jean Tayan was starred in this movie instead, considering she's a far better actress and is really underused in this movie. It also helps that she's cute as hell. But this movie is just freaking excellent. The action is absolute excitement, the movie moves at a great pace, the music is great, and is an absolute fun watch every time. Number 3. The original King Kong. This movie is groundbreaking and is the grandfather to Daikaiju Eiga. The effects by Willis O'Brien are some of the best stop-motion effects you ever see. The characters are great, especially my favorite character, the snarky, fun, and kinda sexist Jack. He just doesn't give a fuck and does whatever he wants. It's just awesome. And the balance of action, adventure, comedy, and horror is so good. My only complaint with this movie is the forced romance and cheesy dialogue that comes with it, but that's common with monster movies from this era. But nonetheless, this movie is a masterpiece that if you for some reason haven't watched, you need to change that now. Worth noting that the next 2 movies are equally fantastic to me. I just put one below the other on the list because it'd be easier to talk about them in separate parts, but they are equally great. So with that being said, let's get to it. Number 2. King Kong vs. Godzilla. How could you not love this amazing movie from the perfect score from Akira Ifukube, the freaking amazing Godzilla suit and design, the exciting showdown between these 2 iconic kaijus, and the absolutely lovable cast all around. My only gripe with this movie is the Kong suit and design. Though they have their charm, his design is still goddamn ugly, and as an effect, the suit just looks like roadkill with sometimes unbalanced proportions. The Godzilla suit looks cool. I really liked how his design is more reptilian than usual, and they went the extra mile by giving the suit skin of a reptile, and it does a goddamn beautiful job at feeling like both a King Kong movie and a Godzilla movie. Number 1. The 2005 King Kong remake. Absolutely this. This movie is amazing. Everything about it is fantastic. It retells the story of the original movie, but also does an awesome job at expanding it without using padding or making the original feel lacking, and the extended edition does even more so, and I love it. It also does enough creative liberties for the story, so it also feels different while still being a faithful remake. The effects are pure brilliance. This is a movie from 2005 that uses digital effects as its main effect source, and they still look perfect with the shading, animations, and blending in with the people perfectly. And the few physical effects that were here, I had trouble telling the difference since both look convincing as all hell. The characters are great, and the expanded runtime really did these characters justice, and this more realistic look to Kong worked while still giving us the more monster look that Kong is known for. The dinosaur kaiju are absolutely awesome. You can tell what dinosaurs they are, but they also feel evolved, my favorite being the V-Rex. The music is absolutely wonderful, capturing the emotion of each moment, while also creating exciting action scenes. This movie is just a fantastic movie in every way, and it even outdoes the original masterpiece. You need to really watch this movie. It is freaking awesome! Anyway, that was my list, and please feel free to give yours in the comment section below, and if you like this video, hit that like button and share this video, and most importantly, please subscribe, and maybe even follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, where I not only share my content, but I also talk about other awesome stuff. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This is Daikaiju Spacezilla, leaving the building.